Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, in a world like today's, dominated by rationality, what I am about to share might indeed leave you incredulous. Nowadays, we often struggle to accept the existence of phenomena and individuals who, through their actions, challenge everything that we can rationally comprehend. Today, however, we delve into a story that challenges our understanding of the natural world and urges us to elevate our hearts towards the divine mystery. We are about to discuss Saint Joseph of Cupertino, a Capuchin friar who lived in the 17th century, whose extraordinary levitations and ecstasies not only astonished the faithful but also perplexed scientists. Was it really possible for a man to rise from the ground during mystical ecstasies, defying gravity and bewildering those who witnessed it? Was he a skilled illusionist or a saint endowed with supernatural powers? Before we dive into this miraculous account, it is important to emphasize that the levitations of Saint Joseph are not merely legends or fairy tales. There are numerous historical testimonies, coming from people of every social class, that attest to the truthfulness of these events. Nobles, clergy, ordinary citizens, all had the privilege of witnessing this astonishing spectacle, where the friar would lift off the ground during prayer, mass, or the reading of sacred texts, remaining suspended in the air for varying periods, sometimes even for several hours. His levitations were often accompanied by other mystical phenomena, such as ecstasies, mystical tears, and heavenly fragrances. The fame of these extraordinary experiences spread quickly throughout Italy and Europe, drawing the attention of scholars and men of faith curious to investigate the nature of these seemingly inexplicable events.
A solemn mass was being celebrated in the church of the convent in Osimo. Friar Joseph, as usual, was kneeling in the choir among his brethren. At the elevation of the Holy Eucharist, he was taken by such an intense rapture that he rose from the ground more than a hand's breadth, remaining suspended in the air for a considerable time. His body was as if rigid, his eyes fixed on the Blessed Sacrament, his face aglow with a celestial light. Those present, including many nobles and dignitaries, were astounded by this miraculous spectacle. Some, in disbelief, approached to touch him, but his body was as if immaterial, impossible to grasp. Only at the end of the elevation did Friar Joseph return to the ground, as if awakening from a deep dream. The news of this miracle spread rapidly throughout the city, and soon reached the ears of the bishop, Monsignor Michelangelo Ricci. The bishop, intrigued and eager to verify the truth of the matter, summoned Friar Joseph and interrogated him at length. The friar, with simplicity and humility, recounted what had happened, confirming every detail. Impressed by Friar Joseph's sincerity and the numerous eyewitness accounts, the bishop could only acknowledge the miraculous nature of the event.
Despite initial skepticism, Pope Urban VIII, after meeting him personally, was impressed by his holiness and absolved him of any charges. However, to avoid further controversy, the Pope decided to confine Joseph to various convents far from Cupertino. Joseph obediently accepted this arrangement and spent the remaining years of his life wandering from one convent to another, continuing to experience ecstasies and levitations. Thus began a period of pilgrimage for Saint Joseph, who was transferred from one convent to another: Rome, Assisi, Pietrarubia, Fossombrone, and finally Osimo. Despite the enforced isolation, his reputation for holiness and his extraordinary mystical experiences continued to spread, attracting devotees and scholars from all over Italy. Commissions of experts over the centuries, including doctors, physicists, and theologians, have failed to provide a definitive scientific explanation for the levitations of Saint Joseph. Some scholars have suggested that they might be due to psychological factors or rare medical conditions. But for the Catholic Church, the levitations of Saint Joseph are not merely a physical phenomenon, but a tangible sign of his profound union with God and his holiness. These extraordinary events should not be seen merely as a spectacle, but as a manifestation of divine power that works through faith and prayer. But what do the levitations of Saint Joseph of Cupertino teach us today? Saint Joseph's levitations invite us not to seek rational explanations at all costs, but to contemplate these events as an invitation to deepen our faith and open ourselves to the mystery of God. The friar did not levitate for show or to perform spectacular miracles, but was able to reach such a deep level of communion with God that he transcended the laws of physics. His levitations were an expression of his total devotion to God, a symbol of his soul rising towards heaven, his true homeland. Saint Joseph of Cupertino remains a model of holiness and humility, an example of how a life lived in faith and love for God can open up to extraordinary mystical experiences.
The greatest miracle is not to fly, but to love. God is more present in the ordinary than in the extraordinary. We should not seek consolation in creatures, but only in the Creator. Prayer is the key to heaven, but humility is the key to prayer.
This quote by Saint Joseph of Cupertino underscores the presence of God in everyday life, even in the simplest and most mundane moments. It encourages us to seek God in the ordinary, rather than chasing extraordinary experiences. His story teaches us that faith is not just a collection of dogmas and rituals, but a living and concrete experience that can transform our lives and open us up to the dimension of the supernatural. The levitations of Saint Joseph of Cupertino remain a fascinating enigma that prompts reflection on the power of faith and the presence of God in our lives. While science has not yet provided a definitive explanation, faith offers a deeper perspective, inviting us to recognize in these extraordinary events a sign of God's infinite love for humanity. Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos and become part of our community of faith and prayer. May God bless us all.